Hello, everyone, and welcome to Imani's Lightwork Keys to Akasha section of my channel. Today, what I will be covering is the Titanic story. So don't ask me why. I just feel really drawn to Titanic. For some reason, it kept popping in my head all the time. So I just felt the need to cover it for some reason. This will be the first time since I chose this story that I'll be channeling way, way back into time. Okay, so with all the KTA readings, technically you are channeling backwards. And channeling backwards is no different than channeling forward, but you still, it just gets a little heavier energetically. Okay, so I felt really drawn to cover this story for some reason. Okay, about the shipwreck and it hitting the iceberg on April 15th, 1912. Okay, so let's see. It smells. So something is smelling. So it could be smoke, when the ship hit the iceberg. But that's not only it. So the ship hitting the iceberg and the smell and smoke and bursting pipes and things of that nature from the impact of the ship hitting the iceberg. That's not only it, but that's what a passenger said. So a passenger on the boat said that something caught fire. So a passenger on the boat said that something caught fire, like in the movie or the documentaries, and they show you clips of the boat hitting the iceberg, and all of a sudden things catching on fire. But something happened beforehand. So when I said that something happened beforehand, so something happened on the ship before it hit the iceberg or leading up to it, I get a distraction. So when I said the ship leading up to the iceberg issue, something's going on with a distraction. So the person like the captain of the ship, they could have gotten distracted, or I get a smell. So someone was distracted by a smell on the ship. So it could be someone could have caught fire on the ship in one of the cabins. But someone was smoking. So when I said smoke, something catching fire, or the smell of smoke in one of the cabins, was that someone in the third class, someone in the whichever class, somebody was smoking. Like they were smoking a pipe. Back then they smoked pipes. They still do. But cigars. They smoke cigars and pipes. I keep getting third. So someone in the third class may have been smoking a pipe, or they were smoking a cigar or something, but something caught on fire, or a cigar could have felt sheets. A cigar could have fallen on sheets, and something there caused some type of distraction. So before it hit the iceberg, something happened on the ship before the reason why that's important is because some people don't know that either. So some people may not know that, but the ship hitting the iceberg, not only like in the movie, for example, not only was it difficult, like not only did they not be able, not only did the captain not get enough time to turn the ship away from the iceberg that they saw in front of them, they would have had time. They probably would have had time if it wasn't for the smell of the smoke and somebody smoking and something getting lit on fire. That could literally have been what diverged them away from getting 5 or 6 minutes early on ahead of driving past the iceberg. But it took one little distraction like that for that to occur. But let's see what's going on. Because I have it. It feels like the whole conversation is happening with the steering, the wheels, and people communicating with it frantically. People frantically communicating with each other and trying to get something burning. So something was burning, like a cigar or something in the kitchen. Someone was just burning, or someone was already either part of this is what happened after, or the reason for the distraction is because somebody smelled smoke before they got a chance to even turn the wheel to diverge away from the iceberg. Someone is running up and saying someone's on fire, hence the reason for why the ship didn't get its 5 or 6 minutes extra of diverging away from the iceberg. That would make sense. The Ace of Cups, or someone was just burning, period. The Ace of Cups energy is underneath. The Ace of Cups energy does imply, Ace of Cups can represent a new relationships, but formulated. So new relationships were formulated on the ship. People were meeting people from all over. There were Chinese people. There were, I don't know if they were Indians or not, but they, it was back then, they still had their prejudices. So it was predominantly white, first class, second class. They had a few Chinese, this, that, and the third, with people that occupied the first, second, and third class cabinet. I almost said cabinets, like government, of legislation. Yes, some may have something to do with that also. It's not a mistake that I even said that, but classes of people, or cabins that the people were staying in, with the Ace of Cups energy being here. But someone's also going on here with receiving something. So the Ace of Cups energy does imply receiving by money. So someone's going with receiving money. So either yes, I could imagine that this story, or the people's families that survived, they could have gotten money back. That's why the Ace of Cups energy is there. They could have received all those the elite. So something is really important about the elite families on the ship. A portion of, that's what I found was interesting about the story, was that a portion of the elite, predominantly they were, mainly elite, survived, which I also found really interesting, because they paid more. But that's the secret. So the elite people and the elite families and the aristocrat families and the lords and the duchess and the countesses that rode in the first class, they were elite. So they paid more. They paid more, so they could have preserved those boats for them specifically because they paid more. There's that, you know what I mean, in terms of the Ace of Cups energy. They could have saved some other people in second class and third class, but I feel like, obviously they would have prioritized the first class people that paid more money, and the fact that they were elite. They're prime citizens of society, and they had to live, they had to survive there because of their connection and thing. But they received money. So when I said that they received money, that's why they were given first class treatment. Even after their first class travel got destroyed, they were still given first class treatment. Okay, let's see what's happening. Temperance energy is here in the starting point, but I get steering. So the temperance energy does imply steering, but I had mishap with steering. So yes, there was a mishap with the boat being steered and missing the iceberg, but that's not the only thing that happened. So when I said a mishap with the steering and missing the iceberg and things of that nature, and something going crazy, funky with the wheel, that's not the only thing that happened. That's why the temperance energy is there, but something started on board the ship. So something started on board the ship. So like earlier on, before I put any cards out, something may have been going on with somebody smoking in third class, somebody lighting a cigar, somebody cooking. Something was just on fire, like a cigar, or somebody's sheets got on fire. But all that could have wreaked havoc and caused the captain to diverge his attention away from the approaching iceberg, with the temperance energy being there. But where are we going, or what are we going to do? So the temperance energy, where are we going, or what are we going to do? Like again, wrecking havoc. Yes, there was things happening on the ship that was wrecking havoc. Things happening, but I gossip also. So something happened on the ship with gossip, or people were gossiping. I get elite again. So people were talking. Okay, this is interesting. People may have been talking about the elite people on the ship, or the people that the elite families and the countesses and the duchess and the dukes and the whatever, the lords, whatever the title, whatever it is that the church gave them that title. They're just humans. They may have been talking about something, or about people. They were talking about people in third class. They may have been talking about people in that not being near them. So something's going on with like the elite people on the ship. They may have been degrading, or they may have been degrading people in third class or second class. Not really the second class, more so the third. The third class of the ship had predominantly people who were really trying to get by, people who were just trying to get to, they were trying to get to America to possibly start a new way for their life. Prejudice. But when I said that, the first class people were prejudiced of that, or they had those kind of prejudiced thoughts about people who they deemed to be lesser than them. Yes, some of them, yes, they were white as well, but they still treated people of different class, and even in the same race, they still treated people of a different class lesser than them. And they treated black people worse. If there were black people on the ship, they would have made it bigger. It probably would have been crazier. But, you know, in the sense of, I keep getting near them. They didn't want them near them. Like, they just didn't want them near them. So, however reason, this could be a situation here where, like, the elite people, like the people that had that status, they had certain amenities and things offered to them that the third and second class, and maybe the second class, but the third class definitely was not offered. They weren't offered those things, but for some reason somebody complained. So when I said them not being offered those things, somebody complained. Someone in the third class complained. Somebody in the first class complained. I don't want anybody in the third class near me. I don't want people in the third class near us. How can we, I keep getting degrading. How can we figure out a way to what do you call it? How can we figure out a way to extract ourselves from them so they won't be near us? But that caused problems. So when I said that caused problems, like somebody in the first class having that kind of thought, they had saltwater pools, and they had masseuse people doing massages for them, and they had dinners and things of that nature. Whatever, they had all that courts and promenades and all that kind of stuff for them in the first class. But something was going on with them. They didn't want to be near anyone in the third class for some reason. So that alone caused an issue with the captain. That alone caused an issue with the captain, because somebody in the first class may have been complaining. You know, somebody in the third class keeps coming up here. Somebody in the third class keeps trying to use the jacuzzi. Somebody in the third class keeps trying to get wine and things of that nature. But this stuff is for us. But there's certain, okay, this is interesting. There are certain things that may have been for everybody, but there are certain things on the ship that may have been for everybody, but the people in the front greedy. Some of the people in the first class were greedy, and they didn't want people grubby hands. They didn't want people from the third class, their grubby hands on it. They didn't want them touching their. They didn't want this. It's really petty to the point where they didn't want people in the third class to share the same bar as them. They didn't want people in the third class to drink from the same wine glasses as them. Every time I give those examples, that's what caused an issue with the captain. That's what caused the issue with the crew of the ship. Kept complaining. So that's what caused the issue with the crew, with the crew, the help staff, the people, the crew of the ship, because somebody in the first class kept complaining about their amenities. So either they were complaining about the amenities, like they were complaining about the amenities in the sense where like they had the amenities that they wanted, and everything was up to par, but they just didn't want third class people sharing it with them, or third class people being near that for some reason. They just didn't want them being near it. So they just didn't want them. They wanted to. They're right in the same ship, but they wanted to keep it divided, even though it wasn't possible to keep it divided. But they had to work really hard to do that. So they had to work really hard to really keep people separate. They worked really hard to keep people, like the damn movie. They had to work really hard to keep people separate, and that caused problems with the captain and the crew, because they kept complaining about separateness, their feeling of being separate all the time. That's why the temperance energy is there, but difficult. So the temperance energy is there because there are certain people that they were just difficult. Certain passengers were difficult in the elite in the first class. Yeah, but third class caused problems also. So the people in the third class could have been complaining about the same issue that people in the third class could have been complaining about the same issue that people in the first class had, but their complaining turned into why can't we use this, that, and the third that they're using? But they didn't pay for it, but they may have caught drunkenness. They didn't pay for it, but some of them may have gotten drunk and things of those nature and could have ended up barging into what the first class people had. That could have fist fights. That could have caused fist fights and things of that nature. So it's the reason for them trying to keep it really divided, but that's what the first class wanted. So trying to keep it really divided, that's what the first class wanted. Okay. The waiting position has the Seven of Cups energy there, but wind. So the Seven of Cups energy is wind. Seven of Cups implies options and trying to temperance energy with the wind, trying to get away from the wind, trying to figure out different ways to diverge the wind. Heavy wind up and down. Heavy winds kept blowing with the Seven of Cups energy in the waiting position. But someone's going with a passenger. So the Seven of Cups energy with a temperance energy is a passenger or something interesting. What is the spirit is saying a passenger. So something's going on with a passenger. There were a lot of people. I get fights. There were a lot of people that ended up having fights on the ship, or something's going on with I had cancer. So something's going on specifically with a Cancerian passenger. Like a Cancerian passenger, like something's going on with a passenger on the ship could have had cancer. A passenger on the ship may not have been well, but seasickness. So a passenger on the ship, or passengers on the ship, there were thousands of them. A passenger, but the spirit emphasizing a passenger. Something is really heavy. A Cancerian passenger, or someone had cancer, or something's going on with seasick. A specific passenger. Something's going on with seasickness with a specific passenger, like a specific passenger on the ship. It could have been a Cancerian passenger, but someone's on the waves and the sickness and the whatever. Something is really interesting there with that. But they complained. So when I said that they complained, like they complained about the seasickness. They complained the winds blowing may have, but on deck. So the winds blowing, they were on deck, or the certain passengers were on deck and they got seasick, or a specific passenger was on deck, and the winds and things of that nature it was making them seasick, it was making them nauseous, but kept complaining. So they kept complaining about that for whatever reason. That could have been what caused the fights and things of that nature, but the distraction. So that could have been what caused the fights, and that's also what caused the distraction. But get off board. So when I said that, someone that was complaining. Okay, oh my God, someone that was complaining about seasickness, someone that was complaining about treatment and not being with first class or the first class. Somebody was complaining about seasickness and illnesses and things of that nature on board, but they were on deck. But being on deck, they're outside where the wind is blowing. That's what caused the issue. They were outside where the wind was blowing. That's what caused the issue. But they kept complaining, and someone came up. It could be a Cancerian, yeah. Someone came up to them and said, "Just get off board. Just go back inside." Not listening. Just get off board. Just go back inside. But they weren't listening for some reason, but wreaked havoc. So when I said that, they wreaked havoc. That's why the Ace of Cups energies. They kept wreaking havoc with other passengers. They kept wreaking havoc with other passengers. They kept wreaking havoc. It could have been someone in third class, but multiple. So when I said someone in third class, when I said it could have been someone in third class, multiple third class people were complaining about nausea. Multiple third class people were complaining about We're complaining about heavy winds and seasickness, but given something crazy to eat also. So they may have been they ate something crazy, or I ate poison. So people in third class may have been poisoned, But they ate something that they didn't know had poison in it. They went out on deck where the winds were blowing, and they became nauseous and thrown up and things that nature, poison. But they were poisoned. But it's bringing me back to someone in first class, or multiple first class plan something. Multiple first class people plan something. Multiple first class people planned something. They planned how to get rid of certain people in the third class and things of that nature. They planned something, but I get a waiter also. So someone's going on here with waiters and people delivering food to third class. Someone's going on with people delivering food to the third class people. And something's going on where people in first class had a bond, or they had a secretive conversation with a waitress. They had a secretive conversation with a cook and said, put this, that, and third poison. Put this, that, and a third poison. And these people in the third class, put this food, not put this, yes, take this food to them, yes, after you put the poison in it, but that was the plan. So that was the plan. That people in first class are devious. There were some people in the first class that were devious. That's why I said they wanted things separate. They did not want to be near the third class people. How to get rid of? Not wanting to be near the third class people. How to get rid of? How to get rid of them? Like totally. Like how to get rid of them. They're like how to poison them and things of that nature. But paid. So poisoning them and trying to poison them and things of that nature. Someone was paid to do that. A cook was paid to do that. A chef was paid to do that. There. A chef was paid to put poison in third class, some third class people in their food with the 7 of Cups and the the 7 of Cups and the temperance energy there, but was never caught. So someone was never caught with that. So someone in the first class protected. Someone in the first like it is now. Someone in the first class is protected from the wrong that they did, or they're never going to be judged or found out for the wrong that they did because they're elite. They're protected. They're protected by whatever source of mysticism. They're protected by European mysticism. They're protected by those elite constructs. They're protected there. Or someone back then, I'm not sure, obviously I don't think they wouldn't have secretive cameras and to catch a cook. Nobody's gonna have secretive cameras that are gonna catch a conversation that someone in first class is having with a cook. Or that a cook did on their own. No one is going to catch that on video, on surveillance video. No one is going to catch that recording and things of that nature. Far too advanced, but they're way back. So they're not going to have that kind of technology. But hence the reason for why somebody got away with something. But a cook followed through. So when I said that, a cook followed through, a chef followed through with the orders that were given to I had a male and female. So could have been male and female cooks, male and female chef. They followed through with, I keep getting poison. They were following through with poison. Like the people experienced some kind of poisoning there. People experienced some kind of poisoning. Yes, it was freezing cold, It was freezing cold, but poison is what killed a certain amount of people. I don't know how many people that they got after in the third class to poison them to that point, but something was sacrificial also. So something may have been sacrificial there. Someone was sacrificial there. That's why certain people survived. The people survived, planned something. People that survived were a part of some type of planning. They were a part of some type of planning. This is a situation here where somebody's really annoyed. I keep getting third class. Somebody's really annoyed with third class people or a specific group of third class people on the ship for some reason. There were more third class people on the ship than anybody than second class than anybody else on the ship. There were like 2,000. However, over 2,000 passengers were on that ship, and the majority of them made up the third class. Plan on them. A majority of them made up the third class. So somebody plotted and planned on the annoying. Somebody plotted and planned on the third class because something was annoying about the third class. Someone was annoying about them. They back in the day, the first class and second class people may have observed third class people to be like banshee or obnoxious or like just the ruffians. Like just some of them may have been like ruffian, like really hard living and ruffians and whatever, however you want to call it, whatever, however they wanted to. I keep getting poisoned. So however they wanted to look at them, they were like they wanted to be separate or so they had the first class people had their separateness. They managed to follow through with that plan that they had, but something's going on here where the third class people kept causing problems and things of that nature, and somebody couldn't take it in the first class anymore, so it had this they banded together. Some of them banded together, had a conversation how to get majority up, how to get rid of the majority of the third class, how to get rid of the majority of the third class. But someone's going with bets and deals also. So I'm telling you, bets and deals is something that goes way back, even in early 1900s. That's when they started those mystical and those sacrificial things and bets and blood bets. They started that way back. That could have been something that they were doing on the ship, you know, with the third class, with a majority of the people in the third class, their lives. So a lot of however you want to look at it, a lot of them, but the waves and with the third class people, the right before the ship hit, that was the plan. Right before the ship hit the iceberg, or something is interesting about the iceberg, because this is interesting. This is like, oh my God, this is really crazy. This is a situation here where something is, I mean, to have a whole ship sink, something is really interesting. That's why certain people survive there. But someone's really interesting here. But I keep getting poisoned. So someone going with multiple poisons. But the people falling off the ship and into the water is because, okay, the field, yes, the hitting of the ship, but the people falling into the water, they were poisoned. The people falling into the water, either they were dead, or either some of them are dead already, or a majority of them had poison in their system and they were going to die anyway. So this is a situation here where, my God, this is a situation here where the ship is on its way to America. So somebody's like, okay, I don't want to make it seem like there was like a mass murder going on the ship. So this is what's going to happen here. So it could have happened by accident, and a lot because it was a devious plan that the ship hit the ice, but multiple people were poisoned anyway. So there were multiple people that were going to end up dying on the ship. So it would have looked weird. It would have been weird for the ship to show up to the dock or show up to Ellis Island with dead people on it. It would have been weird for the ship to show up to the dock with multiple dead bodies on it. You know, it would have been weird for the ship to show up to the dock like that. It would have been weird for it to show up like that there. That's why Seven of Cups energy is there. What to do? Seven of Cups energy is there because it could be a Sagittarius. It could be whatever. I was getting a Cancer. So I feel like a Cancerian energy knew something, or they were part of something, or it was them that caused the problem. It was them that caused a problem, because that one water sign energy that caused the issue on the ship, it caused a chain reaction. It caused a chain reaction of people to scenarios and for people to come up with ideas of poisoning, or they were poisoned, and what it takes one person to throw up and pass out and die from a poisoning for multiple people to catch on. For multiple people to catch on that, wait a minute, they ate the same thing that our table ate, is what's going to happen to us now, and hence the reason for the chain reaction death with one portion of that, or it's just the third class a majority of the third class that experienced that for some reason. Very interesting. Wow. The present has the world, sign of Capricorn. So there was a Capricorn that was a hero. I can't remember her name. I think it was, I don't remember. I'm not going to try to remember. I will look it up and send you guys the story link with the, but they did have a Capricorn energy that was a female that ended up being a hero in the sense where she was responsible for, She was responsible for helping bring down the boats and things of that nature. She was considered to be the heroine, but I just can't remember her name. But I looked up her birthday, and she was a part of the elite, yes, and she was a Capricorn. That's why she's in the present, but knew something. So her being in the present is that she knew something. She just knew something. She knew about the secretive plans with the chefs and the other people in first class. She knew about the poisonings. I keep getting third class passengers or passenger. She knew about the multiple poisonings that occurred in the third class, and with multiple third class passengers or a third class passenger. She knew what was going to happen to them, but it was a plan. So she knew what was going to happen to them. Something was a plan there. Something was a plan there. But she, in addition to whoever else, but somebody may have been thinking, we can't get rid of all of them like that. The idea would be to throw multiple people overboard after the poison. Throw multiple people overboard after they got poisoned. Throw multiple people overboard after they got poisoned. And that could have been something that she heard of. That could have been something that she heard of. That could have been something that she heard of. That could have been one reason why the count was the way that it was. That could be one reason, but didn't have enough boats. So the count being the way it was, there were not enough. Oh, I see what's going on here. Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's going on. The ship hitting the ice. This is crazy. The example, the what I'm gonna say. The ship hitting the iceberg. Someone's premeditated. So the ship hitting the iceberg. Someone is like, we can't have. There is no way that we're gonna be able to save all these people. There is no damn way we're going to be able to save all these people. So come up with a plan. So there's no way that we're going to save all these people. So someone is like, come up with a plan fast. Come on. They could have seen this is really interesting. This is crafted. Like this is well crafted. But she's deceased, yes. But this is well crafted in the sense where oh my god. This is like the ship. Okay, the ship is nearing the iceberg, right? And the ship is near. People don't know. People don't know that that's happening. Or some people may not have. Some people may. Okay. Oh my god. Some people may not have known that was gonna. Some people may not have known that was gonna happen. But something's going on where there's not enough boats for all these. There's not enough boat. Preserve the first class. When I said that, so when I said that, preserve the first class. Preserve the elite. That's why I said from the beginning, preserve the elite, save the elite. So something's going on where this is like people there aren't enough boats and somebody sees that we're not getting out of this situation with this iceberg. So I keep getting poisoned. So we're not getting out of this situation with this iceberg. So how is someone going to orchestrate or design a plan so that multiple people will get poisoned? This is like they're trying to lower the count so there aren't enough boats, and people are trying to lower by poisoning. People are trying to lower counts by poisoning certain people, or by setting up something so that a majority. I keep getting third class. So that a majority, because they made up the majority of ship. So a majority of the third class people. So the majority of third class people could get poisoned. So that they won't have to take up So that they won't have to go on those mini boats with them. That's why I said near them and things of that nature. But every time I look at the Capricorn energy, she knew something. So. The Capricorn energy knew every time when I run through those examples, somebody knew that. So a systematic plan, or they just knew of a plan, period. Like she herself just knew. Captain. She herself knew of something that the captain did, or a captain said, or a captain plan. She knew of something that a captain on purpose. Something is on purpose with a captain. Something may have been on purpose with the captain. Oh, I see what's going on here. Oh, I see what's going on. This is a situation. This could be a situation. It keeps giving me poison. It's an interesting situation where the heavy winds, but that was the claim. The heavy winds and things of that nature. That could have been the claim that the ship couldn't. Okay, that's the claim that the captain had into the reason into why the ship couldn't diverge away from the iceberg. Or something's going on here. I keep getting the passengers. Seven of Cups energy is the passengers, and them being on deck and the winds and the nausea, that was the claim. Them being on deck and the winds and the nausea, that was the claim that people were trying to say. This energy may have known that, but was told that. So this energy was known that, but they were told that by somebody. They were told that by somebody that they wanted to be away from the third class for some reason. She herself may not have been. She was just eavesdropping. That's why I said gossip on the ship from the beginning. So that was a gossip on the ship, that was a plan on multiple of the third class people, was for them, was to have them. Okay, this is interesting. So they're eating, they're being given food with poison. They're being given food with poison in it. So they're going outside on deck where there's heavy wind, and that with the heavy wind is creating the nausea, and the nausea is creating the throw up, and that could have been something that she had to say, or let people know, or let other people know when she arrived somewhere. When she and whoever else survived, when they arrived somewhere, that they got nauseous. They got nauseous from the heavy winds, but they were really poisoned. They got nauseous from heavy winds, but they were really poisoned. Multiple of them were poisoned, But they're like, there aren't that many boats. How are we going to save elite? How are we going to save the elite if the third class people are going to take up the majority of the boats that we have there? They didn't have a lot of boats to save a lot of people. So what to do? Poison. Who to give the poison to? It could be it could even be like second class people that they gave poison to as well. But if the third class kept bringing it, might get most of it to them. So most of whatever the plan was happening on them. It was happening on them. Yes, people like fell overboard and things of that nature, but majority was poison. A majority of them were poisoned somehow. A majority of them got poisoned somehow. Somehow they got poisoned through food or some craziness. The future has the 10 of Wands energy. Okay. The instincts has the 9. Oh God. The instincts has the 9 of Cups energy there with the instincts. Okay. It's Cups energy passengers. So the Cups energy, all these cups represent passengers or a majority of the passengers and complaining. So every time I say that, a majority of the passengers complained. They complained about the illnesses, and they didn't know that they were poisoned. So complaining about illnesses, some of them didn't know that they were. Some of them did not know that they were poisoned. So the elite people made up a very small portion. The elite people on the ship, the first class people, made up a very small portion of people on the ship. So the second class, the third class people were tricked. Second class and third class people were tricked. They were tricked somehow. But knew they weren't going to survive. So them being tricked, second and third class people, them being tricked, they knew that they weren't going to survive. They knew they weren't going to survive. So they saw the ship. They saw that the iceberg they saw the ship hitting the iceberg, or they knew that someone was going to happen and trapped in something also. So they knew someone was going to happen because they were just trapped in something. But that was another part of a plan. So being trapped into something, that was another part of a plan. That was another part of a plan. So in addition to the poisoning through the food, in addition to the poisoning that somebody in the first class set up, or somebody, whatever, but I get nurses. So when I said somebody in the first class set up, someone's going with nurses, or there were very few, there could have been very few nurses to attend to everybody. So very few nurses could have really attend to everybody. But something is also going on here with being trapped into what do you call it? Someone's also going on with being trapped into room, locked into rooms. So something's going on with being trapped into rooms, but they were locked. I keep getting third class. Third class people were locked into their rooms, like because of the water, or or somebody purposefully, maybe some of the captain, somebody purposefully did something, or they were locked into their rooms by another passenger. They were just locked into their rooms by another passenger, and the other passenger could have been from the first class. But that was a tactic. So that something there was a tactic. That was also a tactic, to go around a certain people's room, lock the doors, and shut down, lock the doors, make sure the latches are closed down, so that when the water, this is a situation here where even if water gets in, even if water gets into the boats and that kind of stuff, even if water gets in, you could still the door isn't going to lock. You can still push the door open. They were locked. You can still push the door open, but some of their doors were locked on multiple passengers. Their doors were locked. They couldn't get out of they could not get out of their rooms, but someone asked someone else to lock them. So someone asked the captain, or this energy heard everything. This energy is in the present, the Capricorn energy that was a heroine, or yes, there could have been multiple Capricorn energies, but she was one that survived, was aware of plans with an S. She survived. She was aware of plans with an S. She was aware of plans, and those plans include locking certain people into their room, so they wouldn't be able to get. I keep getting third class, locking third class people into their room so they wouldn't get out. Or they wouldn't be able to get out. Even if the water is flooding in, you can still push the door. You can still swim out, but somebody locked those doors. Somebody locked those doors. Somebody locked those doors there. Wow. But every time I look at this energy, she knew everything. She knew everything. She knew everything. Like, she knew about the poisoning, locked doors. She knew about the poisonings. She knew about the locked doors and the multiple locked doors. But it's timely. So it's like, this is like a situation here where I'll give you a perfect example. It's just an example. This is a situation here where first class people are eating at a table, right? First class people are eating at a table. Then a third class family comes in and eats. So they're eating, but they're eating poison. Like they're eating, but they're eating poison. They're eating, but they're eating poison. Or they're not. But after they eat, they're going back into their rooms, and they lock their doors or not, but they didn't really need to do that. So locking their doors or not, they didn't really need to do that. So they're going back into their rooms and going to sleep. They're going back into their rooms and they're going to sleep. But they're going to sleep not only because they knew that they knew that something was going to happen to them, but because of the poison. So they're going to sleep and they're laying down because they were poisoned, and they're not. It's poison that they're not going to be able. They're not going to wake up They're not going to wake up the next day. It's that kind of thought. Is they're going to sleep with poison in their system. But even if the ship is getting flooded, even if their cabin corridor is getting flooded, they're getting poisoned. They're going to sleep with their families, and they're shutting the doors, and they're going to sleep, and they're not waking up because somebody in the kitchen, the chef, was asked to poison them. They were asked to poison them. The Nine of Cups energy being in the instincts, but wishes met. So somebody's wishes were getting met here. So either it's people in the first class, or it could be a water sign. It could be a water sign energy, a Cancerian, or a water sign passenger, from the first class. The wishes met. A water sign passenger in the first class, their wishes were getting met. Or it's a Capricorn energy that was a heroine, the secrecy. Someone is really secret about them, or secretive about her, or her role that she played on the ship. Something is more profound about the role that she played on the ship. Something is profound about her role. Or something about her role. Something about her role. Only a few people really knew about her role. The reason for the heavy energy with the importance of me emphasizing something about her role, knew everything. The only reason she was dubbed a heroine, but she knew the reason into why she was a heroine. By keeping in first class, yes, she was first class, but it would look like she's a heroine to people who survived because they were mostly in first class. But her being a heroine, her being a heroine is like what do you call it? Her being a heroine is like she knew, she just had that knowing, or someone just told her, someone is deceptive. Someone just told her that something was deceptive on a ship. But she knew something was deceptive on the ship, but she still had the title of heroine because of certain people that she was asked to save. There were certain people that she was asked to save, or asked to help save, or she was asked to, or she did it on her own. But her saving certain people on her own, she was aware of deception. Her saving certain people on her own, she was just aware of deception, or something maybe had been deceptive about her. That someone was deceptive, you know, or she knew that certain people on the ship were deceptive. I mean, yes, they were deceptive, but they deceived passengers. They deceived certain passengers, or a whole group of passengers, or a majority of third class passengers were poisoned, or whatever it is that happened to them. They got locked in their rooms. So some of them may have just gotten locked in their rooms. They weren't poisoned necessarily. Some of them, yes, some of them may have been, but if they weren't only necessarily poisoned. Only they were just locked into their rooms. Somebody just asked someone to lock them in their rooms, like lock them in. Even okay, the heavy reason for them being locked into their rooms. This could even be before this could even be way before. Okay, this could even be way before they were aware that the ship was going to hit a damn iceberg. So how to get people out on deck? Time in a timely fashion, but trying to act like they couldn't open doors. So they're trying to act like they couldn't open certain doors, and it could be in the third class people doors. So they're telling each other, we can't open it. It's jammed. But they really locked it. But certain people were asked to lock people in third class their doors, to lock their doors way before. This is a ship, so you have to give people the heads up. This ship is about to go down, so get as many people as you possibly can out on deck so that we can load them onto the ship. So we can load them out onto the ship, but they were aware of that, but they had certain people set up to go lock certain people's doors because they didn't want them. They had certain people that had their doors locked because they didn't want to help them, or they didn't want to save them lesser than, because they deemed them to be lesser than. They deemed them to be lesser than. That's how they ended up going down with the ship. So they purposefully didn't tell. This is like, okay, this is like people are like saying, the ship is gonna go down soon. Let me try to go down to the third class and get certain people out, trying to act like they can't open the door. So they're trying to act like they can't open certain doors, but they really can, or they're really responsible for locking them. But the spirit emphasizing that is that they could have had the people in the third class. They could have had ample time to get up on deck, but people locked them in. Because they're saying that they didn't have enough room for all of them. But that was a plan on them. So either it's like a 2-part plan, but it's poison and it's being locked into the damn rooms. It's poison and it's being locked into the rooms, or some were poison and some were just locked in intentionally, or some were poisoned and they went back to their rooms, and they went into their rooms and closed the door and died in their sleep. And they died in their sleep. Like in the movie, for example, that family that went in the water being washed up on them, that's a perfect example of going to sleep, but there's poison in their system and they don't know. Poison in their system and they don't know. Jeez. Not spiritual self. The accomplishment has the hangman energy right next to the temperance energy, but waves. So hangman energy is the waves. The waves, heavy winds, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? But the hangman energy being captain. The hangman energy is also the captain, right next to the temperance card. Hangman right next to the temperance. Bereave. Someone's going to either bereavement, or someone's going on either relieve or bereave. I don't know whichever word it was, but the bereave, thinking about that feeling of grief, captain. So the captain may have been thinking about that before. So the captain was thinking about had that kind of thought or that feeling before something even happened, was aware of something before something even happened, but they were just aware of something. They were aware that the ship was going to go down. They were aware. I keep getting poisoned. They were aware of the poisonings. They were just aware of the poison. That could literally have been what caused the grief. That could have been what caused the grief there. You know what I mean? A few of them were saved, like the captains and the assistant to the captains and some of the crew. Some of the crew, all of them were a part of some type of plan here, with saving certain people and locking certain people in and poisoning certain people or whatever it was. This could have been a sacrifice that was made, that even some people that were a part of some type of plan there, even some people that were a part of that, they may have also went down with the ship, weren't promised something. So they may have also went down with the ship because they weren't promised something. They weren't promised something. This could be a situation here where that's why I said bets and deals. Gambling. So the bets and deals came from the gambling that somebody took part in that. So it could have been somebody riding the ship. They took turns riding the ship. Yes. So it could have been the captain, like bets and deals and what do you call it? And mysticism and things of that nature. You know what I mean? That could literally been what was going on the ship with certain people, but there are certain people that took part in it, but they took some of the blood bets and those kind of things. That could have been what was going on the ship, you know? But someone was scared also of that kind of thing that they observed. So someone may have been scared of those kind of things. It could have been a captain. That's why I said grief or bereaved, or some type of bereavement and things of that nature. That could have been what happened there. But with the passengers, that's what happened with the passengers. Or they were aware of a plan there as well. Somebody may have been spiritually aware of it. It's the hangman energy. A captain may have been spiritually aware of something, or certain oblivious. Certain passengers were just oblivious to something that was going on, or a plan, or poisoning and things of that nature. But try to talk to captain. So there were certain passengers that they may have tried to talk. They may have tried to talk to the captain or the assistant to the captain. There were certain passengers that tried to have a conversation with him. There were certain passengers that tried to do that. If it's not only Capricorn energy in the present, then it's just world energy. The cycle complete captain or the passengers and the ship. But something is mystical. So when I said that something is mystical, or somebody did something mystically, you know what I mean? Somebody may have done something mystically, and somebody in the third class or the first class invoking. Someone in the first class may have been invoking something. Or somebody through a bet or some type of gamble. I keep getting mystical. Through a bet or some type of gambling that somebody was doing on the ship, something was mystical, and somebody's thinking, or a captain or another passenger, they were thinking that something was going to get invoked on the ship, like something crazy, like someone's gonna cause multiple deaths. Yes, but something was sacrificial and blood bet about that there. You know, but something's going on here also with like a prime minister. So when I said that something's going on with a prime minister, that could have been something that conversations about. That could have been something that a prime minister that was on the ship. That could have been something that he was talking about. A prime minister was talking about on the ship. Blood bets and gambling sacrifices. They were talking about sacrifices, like human ones, or making sacrifices like in life, or human ones, and blood bets and deals and gambled. That could have been something that they did often, but it was concealed. That was something that they did often, but it was concealed there. With the prime minister, with a captain, with a Capricorn energy that was a heroine, she knew that. Capricorn energy that was the heroine, she knew that. She knew about the prime minister, their plans. She knew about a prime minister's plans. She knew about a prime minister's plans, that the prime minister could have been one of the ones that were saved. prime minister, or a duke, or a lord. One of those elements there had a plan. One of those elements there had a plan, but it was mystical. So they did something mystically they did something mystically with a bet or a deal with Baphomet. Whatever it is that they did something mystically there. And a passenger and a child. So when I was about to get an example, a passenger in third class may have known that, or it was a child. It could have been a child that overheard something and told their mother. It was a child that overheard something and they told their mother about the ship, about what a prime minister or a duke or a lord said, or somehow a child overheard something there. A child overheard something and they told a child overheard something and they told their mother. A child ran off and told their mother something there, but made them scared. So a child running off and telling their mother something, it made the child and their mother scared. It made the child and their mother scared. But it's giving me like a duke feeling now. So it has something to do with a duke, or one of those prime ministers, or a lord, or whatever the title is. Like they did something, they planned something, they said something, and certain passengers heard that. So either this was during dinner, either it was about the poisonings, or the poisonings imply sacrifice. Yes, the poisonings imply sacrifice. The locking them indoors because this could be a situation here where the long awaited these energies, like these dukes and these duchesses, they may have been aware that the ship, however long, like they could have been aware a whole hour ahead that something was going to happen with the ship. So that could literally have been what a child and their mother heard. That's why the cups energy, the children running around. The cups energies is also children running around and listening and relaying things to their third class parents. Listening and relaying things to their third class parents. They were listening and relaying certain things to their third class parents there. Someone on the ship, like a duke or a duchess or a prime minister, they may have been trying to protect their name or their status. Like they may have been trying to protect that in an interesting way. But something about their conversation about protecting their placement in government, a child or somebody in third class overheard for some reason. But somebody overhearing something, they didn't want name tarnished. They did not want their name to be tarnished. And something that a child or someone in third class heard about them, it's something that they relayed, something that a child relayed back, or a passenger in third class was talking about. That's why I said gossip from the beginning. They didn't want their name tarnished. They didn't want, but something that was relayed implies that if it got relayed, their name would have been tarnished. Their name would have been tarnished. Or if they survived, their name would have been, if these third class passengers, there are second class, whichever, but it's heavily third class. They made up the majority, if something got out, if something got out about the duke or the lord or the prime minister that was supposed to be secretive. But a child running by and they're hearing, I keep getting bets and deals. Children running by and they're hearing something about bets and deals. They didn't want their name to be tarnished, so they had to try to protect their name, their family name, their lineage, their legacy. They had to figure out a way to protect that. And a child was trying to relay that. A child was from third class was trying to relay that back to their parent. And they're like, what to do, how to get rid of, how to poison, plan to poison, how to get rid of. How to get rid of them now that they know this and they're not supposed to know this. And that could have just been one of multiple of those kinds of conversations. That could have been just one of multiple of those kinds of conversations there. Wow. That makes sense. Jeez. The spiritual self has the 8 of Wands energy right next to the 7 of Cups energy. So the 8 of Wands energy moving. The 8 of Wands energy is moving. It implies, but I keep feeling gossip. The 8 of Wands next to the 7 of Cups is gossip about a prime minister, about a duke, about a duchess, about a countess. It's moving. The gossip is moving, traveling through the ship. This could be a situation here also with this somebody in the elite, someone in the first class, like a duke or a duchess, a lord, a prime minister. They may, I keep getting plan. They may have been talking about the plan that they had on certain people on the ship. They were talking about a plan that they did have. So, and it could have something to do with locking of the doors, or it could have something to do with fires. It could have something that I was getting fire from the beginning, and smells and things of that nature, or maybe it could have been throw up and things of that nature that smelled, but whatever. But something's going on. It could have been that, yes, or it could have been them talking about the poisonings, and that's what somebody heard. So when I hit the poisonings, that's what somebody heard. That's what somebody heard, that a duke or a prime minister, and that's why I said sacrificial in the blood, blood bets and things of that nature that they were doing on certain people's lives that they deemed to be lesser than. They were having those conversations, and someone from the third class or whatever, or a child, they heard that. They heard that plan. They heard it, and they're trying to run the Eight of Wands energy. They're trying to run and go tell their parents or their mom and their dad, their moms and their dads. This is what I heard. This is what I heard the Duke of Ellenberg say. I'm just making up stuff. This is what I heard the Countess of Rosen say. Whatever. I'm just making up things. This is what that could have literally been what they heard. And it got relayed back to their parent, their sister, their brother, their uncle, their aunt, and they're terrified. That's why I said hangman energy being in the accomplishment. You know what I mean? Because that information got relayed back, wrong passenger. That information got relayed back to the wrong passenger, and that could literally be why the gossip ended up flying. That could be why the gossip ended up flying like that. So either it's about the poisoning, either it's about not only that. So when I said it being about the poisoning, not only the poisoning, but the conversations about the dukes and the prime ministers and what they try to do to save country, what they're trying to do to save their country. But I see what's going on here. Something's going on. Okay, this is really interesting. Woo-wee. This is a lot. This is like a child or an adult from third class. They heard a scheme. They were hearing about a scheme, like a political scheme, like a governmental scheme that the people in the first class, like the elite, they were having these kind of conversations, but they may not have realized that they were products of that scheme. They didn't realize that they were the products of that scheme. This could be a situation here where like these specific people on this ship, where they could have been all of them particular, or however they could have been all like what do you call that? They could have been all part of one specific district in London or England, or they in close proximity. So the people on the they could have been separate from the ship. They could have all been in close proximity to each other, even not only on the ship, that's not on the ship, but like outside, like when they were living their lives, like in England, but caused problems. So when I said that, there's certain people there caused problems, and that could have been what the dukes and the countesses and the duchess, that could have been what they were talking about, and how to get rid of those, how to get rid of those people. And those same people that those same people that they were talking about out on the street when they weren't on the ship, they ended up on the ship with them. You know, that maids and low functioning maids, I don't know, people, house cleaners, and people that end up in third class, they demean them, but some of them were actually a part. Okay, some of them were actually in close proximity to some of the people in the elite. So some of them could have been their servants. Some of them could have been their servants that were asked to stay in. Some of them could have been their servants that were asked to stay in the third class, and they couldn't be near them. That's why I said from the beginning, being near them. I don't want my maid near me. I don't want my head maid near me. I don't want whatever. I don't want my chauffeur. But I mean, they had chauffeurs that were on the ship, but their personal ones, like they're whatever, their personal, or they just had helpers, but they kept their helpers. They kept their helpers in a certain part of the ship, not anywhere near them. But the ship already had chauffeurs and maids for them already. But they themselves could have came on the ship with their own maids and their own housemaids and handmaids. They themselves could have came on the ship with them, but they were asked to be in third class. And a child running by, or someone heard, this is how I'm going to scheme out my maid. This is how I'm going to get rid of my butler. This is how I'm going to get rid of them. This is how, by poisoning them. I'm going to invite them to dinner, and I'm going to set up something where I'm going to poison them. I don't want them anywhere anymore. And somehow, there's an example, somehow that ended up traveling through the ship. Or one part of that conversation ended up traveling through the ship. So either a prime minister or a duke or a duchess, either somebody was trying to say that saving their name was because they had that kind of thought. The saving their name and holding on their legacy and not wanting their name tarnished came because they had that kind of thought. I keep getting blood bets and deals. So because they had that kind of thought because of blood bets and deals, I could get a new maid. Somebody's like, I could get a new maid. I could get a new whatever. I could get a new butler. I could get like easily. I could get them. All I have to do is snap my fingers and I could get a new maid. So they're like, how to kill off the non-functioning one? How to kill off the non-functioning maid? How to kill off the non-functioning butler, dog walker, whatever, whoever they had working with them that wasn't they deemed to not be functioning properly for some reason. Captain aware. So a captain was aware of that for some reason, or some conversation there a captain was aware of. Or this energy here that was a Capricorn that was dubbed the heroine of the ship, or the heroine of the heroine that was dubbed the one that helped multiple people save their lives, mostly first class, but they were mostly first class that got saved there. And the reason for that was because of overhearing conversations and people not wanting their people. I guess something about township also. People not wanting their names tarnished when they got to their destination. This could be a situation here where also it was not only maids and things. The people in the third class could have been some. That's why I say close proximity, like outside, separate from the ship. The people in the third class could have been citizens. Like the citizens, yes, there were citizens that were near. Somehow they could have been voters or people that complain about their people. The third class, some of the third class people in England, they could have been citizens, or they could have been part of. They could have been, what do you call that? People that naysayers into the what do you call it? They could have been naysayers into the way the prime minister ran. Oh God. They could have been naysayers into how the prime minister was running their government, into how the duchess and the duke, how they operated. They could have been they deem them to be lesser than, but they're also naysayers that separate from the ship. Separate from the ship, were tarnishing their name behind their back and ended up in newspapers and things of that nature, but they're ending up on the ship with them. So in order for the gossip to not spread, they're like, how to kill them off, how to kill them, how to get rid of them. They're outside in England. They're tarnishing my name by saying this, that, and a third. It's ending up in the newspapers. I don't want them tarnishing and spreading these false accusations on my name. So they had to figure out a way to get rid of them. They had to figure out something there. That's why the Eight of Wands energy is in the spiritual self, traveling towards that energy, and his children, and the children are running, and they're telling their parents this is what they're saying, and that is one part of it, or it's the energy of them. The energy of them being out in society before they got on the ship is because they didn't want their name tarnished, and people third class people that they were citizens in England that managed to get on the same ship as them were talking about them and how to get rid of them. Wow. Makes sense. The mentality has the strength card, sign of Leo. So you got Leo, you got Sag, conductors. A Leo and a Sag, they conduct something here, or they could have been one of these elite energies here, or they were people that were driving the or could have been a captain or whatever. They're conducting something. The captain or the captain's assistant or whatever, or part of the crew, whatever it is. The strength energy is in the captain needed. So the strength energy is because the captain needed strength to deal with the situation, or multiple situations here, multiple situations that were happening wrong. So, but this is all leading up to it. This is all of those conversations and the allegations and the poisonings and the people we can't fit this, that, and the third people on here. And that was because out in London they're tarnishing the prime minister's name, and they're on the same ship as us. How to poison them? The ship hit an iceberg. They can't fit on these boats. There's not enough for them. There's not enough for them. There's not enough for them. Well, the strength card and I keep getting captain needed. The captain needed strength to deal with that thought that they had there, because they knew that it wasn't only the multiple issues on the ship caused the problem. Multiple issues on the ship is what caused a damn diversion for the damn ship to hit the iceberg, because of poisons and children running back and forth and names being tarnished and this, that, and the third. Locking doors, locking people in their doors, in their rooms, and that happened beforehand. So every time that happened close. The spirit is saying that happened closer to when the ship hit. But that happened because somebody didn't want their name tarnished, because somebody didn't want a third-class citizen. Somebody didn't want a third-class citizen to get to New York and continue to tarnish their name. So what to do with them? Or multiple of them. What to do with them? What to do with them? That's why the strength card energy is in the mentality there. What's changing is the Six of Wands energy. Okay, the Six of Wands energy is changing there. Uncertainty. So the Six of Wands energy is that if it's a Leo or the captain or whatever, they were really uncertain. Could have been a Leo that was the captain. That's why I said conductors, with the Leo and the Leo, a Sag, Capricorn energies there. This energy being heavily there is because had interactions with the captain. So she herself, if it's not only world energy, the Capricorn energy that was dubbed the heroine, she herself had conversations with the captain of the ship. She herself had conversations with the captain of the ship there. About whatever million of situations that are happening here. She herself had conversations with the captain, but how to survive. So when I said that, how to survive, like she had those kind of conversations, or the captain is like, how to survive now? How are we going to survive? The how are we going to survive? The how are we going to survive is quickly coming up with a plan. This is like, okay, the ship is nearing the damn iceberg. Quickly come up with a plan to save us, elite. Quickly come up with a plan to save the elite. That could have been the conversation that she went up to the what do you call those rooms where they do the I forgot. Somebody ran up to the captain into the booth, or whatever you call it, that they control the operation of the ship, whatever it was. Somebody could have ran up to him and said, how to save us. We're more important. How to save us. How to save us. How to save us. She ran up to the captain and said that multiple of them went up one by one, or she went up herself and complained to the captain, asked the captain how to save us. The captain needed the strength to deal with inconsistencies. The captain needed the strength to deal with inconsistencies with their complaining and the conversations and whatever it was that was going on, and chaotic and wrecking havoc and all of that. The captain could have sent his assistant the captain could have sent out his assistant to monitor. The captain sent out his assistant to monitor something. To monitor people's behaviors and children and conversations and plans and poisonings. But they didn't know. So I said plans and poisonings, the captain didn't know, or the assistant didn't know that. When I hit poison, everything else they were asked to manage. But when I hit the poisonings, the captain may not have known that, or the assistant didn't know that. But the Capricorn energy may have known that. She may have known that, or someone in the first class that she was also a part of told her that, and that could have been what the captain had an inkling about or suspected. That could have been what the captain suspected. That could have been what the captain was suspecting. That's what the captain was suspecting there. You know, that's what the captain was suspecting. They were suspecting it because I keep getting havoc. They were suspecting it because something ended up wreaking havoc on the ship before the ship hit the iceberg. That's why I said before. Someone was wreaking havoc on the ship beforehand. Like somebody smoking. That's one of the issues. Somebody smoking was one of the issues in the fire. That was one issue. But the poisoning, major. The poisonings with an S, that was a major issue. That was a major issue. But the reason for that is because of a duke, a prime minister, complaining about foolishness, whatever it was, or third-class citizens talking about them, tarnishing their name. That could be why the poisonings happen. And this energy that was relayed to this energy, she's going up to the captain and lost. The captain is lost and confused. And what is going on my ship? What the hell is going on my ship? What's going on my ship? I'm trying to maintain order here, but couldn't. I'm trying to maintain order, but he couldn't maintain order. That's why he kept having to send out his assistant. Him send out the assistant. He really needed the assistant to help him navigate the damn ship. But he kept having to send out the assistant to monitor some craziness that was going on the ship all the time. Kept having to do that. You know, they could have been bribed to do something also with the doors and the Capricorn energy. Multiple, whichever Capricorn energy or whatever, if it's her or her family or other people that were on the other elite people going up to him and complaining how to get them in how to lock them. But something's wrong with their heart also. The captain may not have the heart to do that kind of stuff, but they were how to save us. I only want us to be saved. I don't mind. I only want us, our elite. I only want us to be saved. We're a prime society here. I only want us to be saved. I only want our clan. I only want our group to be saved. I only want our group to be saved. That could have been what the captain had to keep dealing with all the time, right? For hours. So when I said that, the captain had to deal with that for hours. Right after I said that, the captain had to deal with that for hours. Like how to save the elite, how to save he could have had that kind of thought, how to save multiple of them, but deep down inside, hangman, temperance energy can't save everybody. But the construct is to save the elite because they run society, they run government. The resolution has the Two of Pentacles energy going towards the Ten of Wands energy there. Taxes. So something's wrong with the boat's taxes, but somebody received that. So somebody received that from the accident and whatever. The elite families. So the elite families received something wrong with the boat's taxes or the accident and money back and things of that nature. They received part of that money there. They received money there because of that with the Ten of Wands energy, courts, and somebody may have had the families and whoever survivors or people of the deceased may have had to go to court for their money. People of the deceased had to go to court or had to go to wherever they had to go and do whatever courts and things of that nature to get money for their deceased loved ones. You know. But something there went to the people in first class. But that's not fair. So when I said that, that's not fair. That those families of the deceased were done like that. That the families of the deceased were done like that. You know, they could have been poisoned and thrown overboard, or they fell overboard. That's why I said on deck. Somebody was they were sick on deck. They were sick on deck, and they could have fallen overboard on deck beforehand, but it's because they were poisoned. But only a few families know that. So only a few families may know that, though. Only a few families know that. Only a few families may actually know that about the poisonings. You know, I keep getting duke, like a duke or like a duchess. Someone is heavy with their families or them being. It's something that's heavy with them being in this intertwined in some type of fault. Them being intertwined in some type of fault that happened here. You know, the ship in the iceberg is because the captain was distracted. But the only reason for the captain being distracted is because the craziness that was going on the ship. So either that was a part of either this is a situation where somebody's having a conversation in their head like the ship is about to hit this iceberg. We need to come with a plan to save certain people here. So either that is one situation, or these things, or the conversations about the tarnishing of names and whatever. It could have been a 2-part situation there. It could have been a 2-part situation, you know, 2-part situation. Somebody's complaining about their name being tarnished. How to get rid of those people tarnishing their name. That's one. The ship hit the dam. That happening crazy on the ship. The gossip flying. Then people are going crazy. Then somebody overheard that conversation, goes to the captain. The captain is getting distracted. The captain is getting distracted and missing the damn turn from the iceberg. So they continue on the plan. They continue on the plan that they had. They continue on or the poisonings and the locking in the doors. All of that could have been something that happened that was premeditated. That happened long before the ship even hit the thing. Somebody could have seen that on navigation, but something got effed up with the plan though. Something got effed up with the plan. So it hit the ship too closely there. It hit the ice. The ship hit the iceberg too closely. I keep getting because of the damn distractions. So it's because of all these distractions that happen. All those distractions. Complaining from the beginning. I don't want to share these amenities with people that are less than me. Complaining about foolishness. Complaining about foolishness. You know? Wow. Or somebody's talking about me. Somebody's tarnishing my name, and the captain's getting distracted. Because it's causing bar fights and fights on the deck, or it's causing fights in areas. Or bets and deals being relayed, the children hearing that, or somebody in third class walking by and they're hearing that. And somebody's losing their mind. And going off and fighting and things of that nature. But I keep getting it's because of third class. So it's something when I say fighting and things of that nature, it's because of third class or multiple people in the third class, they did something or instigated something, whatever it is. The instigation is because somebody could have walked by and heard a duke or duchess or prime minister say something, but they could have left it like that. But it could have really rocked their soul, and they relayed it back to their family member in third class, and they complained but couldn't get out of the room. They went back to third class, and they were trying to relay it back to their family member. And this is what's going to happen to us. This is what's going to happen to us when we arrive in New York, but they never did. I keep getting locked in a room. They arrived in, but they're getting locked in their room. Like somebody, that's why I said somebody had a really interesting way into protecting. That's why I said protecting the elite. Somebody had an interesting way into, or the elite were just protected. So anyone that was against them, they were going to get punished on some level. They were going to get punished, and that punishing included poisoning, including getting locked in their rooms for trying to tarnish somebody's name. Hence the reason for why the ship hit the ice. Hence the reason for why the ship hit the iceberg. They couldn't get out of their rooms because they were talking about one of these dukes and duchesses and prime ministers, or the way they run government, or how they act, or whatever. High citizens. Whatever. Jeez. Ten of Wands energy in the future with the Leo and a Sagittarian energy there. If it's those signs. Two of Pentacles energy, they're the conductors, they're the crew, they're the captain. Had to deal with all these issues. But something is monetary, or something's going on with monetary, something is monetary as well. You know? Could be a monetary, like, I don't know, punishment or something. Something is monetary. Or something was getting, monitored slightly, However you want to look at that. Monitored. navigational system, or damage. So navigational system may have been damaged. The navigational signaling and the system may have gotten damaged there, and the captain may not have known that, but it's because of someone that it could literally be because of someone that it was damaged, that it got damaged, someone was damaged about it, or they just didn't know it was damaged, or they could have gotten a chance to check it. Distraction. They could have gotten a chance to check it if only they weren't distracted. If only they weren't distracted, they could have checked the navigational system. But yeah, getting wrapped up in plans also. So they may have also gotten wrapped up in some type of plan here on someone or on somebody's or multiple people. Like they got wrapped up into something here as well. That could be why they didn't notice that something wasn't right with the navigational system of the ship. But something may have been karmic about that, Something may have been karmic about it. You know what I mean? Trying to do away with people, and then they end up passing there. This is like trying to get rid of people. Like this is like trying to poison people off. But the people who had that kind of thought about poisoning someone also pass. They also pass. There's that. Which is crazy. All right, let's see what the outcome is here for the Titanic. Four of Pentacles energy. I keep getting elite. So the Four of Pentacles is coming from the elite families here, the first class families there with the Four of Pentacles, but they have to hold on to their money. So the Four of Pentacles is that these families, they have to hold on to their money. They have to hold on to their money, like they after this situation, they may have had to hold. They may have had to wait. They may have had to hold on to their money. More came in, so they had to hold on to their money until the rest of it came in. But the rest ship's damages. The rest of it was because of money that was made through the damaging of the ship. Money was extracted out of that. Money was extracted out of that somehow. And they didn't give people in the third class or nothing. They didn't give the people in the third class, those people that died, their families didn't give them anything. They didn't give them anything, And that was their way of getting money out of the ship. They got money out of the ship. The ship's damages, they won a lot. They got a lot of money back somehow, or or taxes and that kind of stuff. Let me do another outcome here. But it's mystical as well because somebody was invoking something, like literally, or someone invoking, like someone could have said something and it was relayed really badly somewhere. It was relayed. The Wheel of Fortune energy, taxes. The Wheel of Fortune energy is the boat taxes, or the people, these families, their taxes, But feeding off of, when I said that. So when I said these families, something's going on, but somebody's feeding off of somebody's, like the deceased people, the deceased people, the taxes, like their family's taxes. But that's a blood bet. So something there is a blood bet. Something there is a blood bet there. This is like multiple people died on multiple people, mostly third class, or I mean a bit of all, and they schemed some of their own first class people. But something's going on where someone's going on with a blood bet, so that could have been what they did to receive. They received more money out of the deceased, their taxes, or a portion of money for the ship's damages. A portion of the money that was supposed to go to deceased families, was supposed to go to them. That these first class people, they received that, but that's the deal. So they received that, but that's the blood deal. That's the blood deal. That's the blood deal. Okay. That's the blood deal with a deity or something. That's that, or some type of whatever it is that they had, the elite, the mystical, and Catholicism and whatever. That was the blood deal that they had going on there. That was a blood deal they had going on. Secret Society, 1912. They had that kind of stuff going on there. How they got their taxes back, or I keep getting deceased. They got their taxes back because because of the deceased people, or they received the deceased people's taxes. But it's because of the accident that they got money back out of that. But it ended up being multiplied because a lot of them died. The ones that survived, that got added on to their pockets. They received more. And someone wasn't fair about that. Someone may not have been fair about that. Some may not have been fair about that. But it was sacrificial, and mysticism is tied into that as well. What a child heard, or some of the treason-like situations and whatever it was, craziness, and with money, and taking money that belonged to people that they deemed to be lesser than them, whatever it is. It's the poisonings and the locking people tactics. The poisonings and the locking people in the doors and the rooms and things, that's the tactic. That's the tactic. This is like doing that and being unaware that the ship is about to hit an iceberg, and all that could have went down hours before that, or the ship is there. The ship is nearing the iceberg, and they're like, we need to come up with something quickly. We need to come up with something quickly. The elite, the first class, we need to come up with something quickly here. There's only a few boats. What to do? I'm looking at the boats right here. The 8 of Wands energy, those little boats that they had to get on. We needed to come up with something quickly. Send somebody to lock up the doors. Go lock the third class people. Go lock their doors from the outside so they can't get out. Go lock their doors. Go get the nurses. The nurses were trying to help people. They were getting sick. I keep getting poisoned. They were just getting sick because of poison or seasickness. There's that. But they could have died from the seasickness. They could have died from the throwing up all the time, regurgitating. They could have died from that. You die from that, poison or not. But there's multiple poisoning. So, but there may not have been enough nurses. So they let them die. Let them die inside their rooms, lock the doors. Wow. It's a lot. It's really interesting. There's always a plan behind something. Like, I would have never thought. I mean, poisoning is something that, the idea of poisoning somebody is really old school, but people still do that kind of stuff. But it's a really old school way. It's such a 1900s, early 1900 kind of thought process. And the fastest way to get rid of people is by poisoning them back then. It's just by poisoning them. Mass in their foods and things of that nature, There's only a little bit of boats. They can't all fit here. That where they got the heads up that the boat was about to hit the iceberg, but they're like there's only like a few boats here. Not all these people, there's no damn way all these people are gonna fit on these boats. How to save the elite. They're high society. We need them. But the behind that is because there's certain people that we're talking about, certain people, and people in third class, second class, whatever. We're talking about these first class citizens. They were talking about them badly. But it scared someone. So talking about them badly, it scared someone. Or the first class people talking about the third class people badly, it scared them. And that caused problems. That caused an issue. Very interesting. All right. That's the Titanic. All right. Let me know if you have any questions or anything to add on. I didn't watch any documentary. The only thing I've really watched is the movie. And the movie is like, just a love story. It's just a love story. But this, I appreciate this because this is not something that I would have thought of. I literally, all in my mind, I was just thinking that, okay, hit an iceberg and people died, Somebody, but the reason behind it, it's something that may have been lackadaisical about the captain, or something's wrong with the navigational system, or he was just distracted because of what was happening on the ship. Just all these distractions. Somebody smoking cigars in their room, and people complaining about the elite. People complaining about the elite. They were complaining about someone was wrong. Like they were just complaining about them, vice versa. Elite complaining about the third class. I don't want to be near them. Somebody hook up somebody to poison multiple of them for a while. That could have been something that was happening for a while on the ship. That could have been happening hours and hours before the ship even knew there was going to be an iceberg somewhere. That could have been happening all that time. That could have been happening all that time. Conversations, poisonings, children, relaying, gossip. That was happening all that time before somebody even thought to look to see that's why the captain was distracted, because somebody could have been down dealing with all those issues. Like I said, the assistant, somebody could have been on the floor having to deal with all those issues, but it distracted the captain. So even if hours passed by, it's nearing the iceberg. So things escalated. That could have been all those poisonings and locking the doors and all that could have been happening. All that could have been happening hours and long before they even knew there was going to be an iceberg. So when the iceberg got near, it heated up all that heated up all those plans that they already it added fuel to all the plans that they already had in action already before the boat got even near to the iceberg. Makes sense. All right, that's the Titanic. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns, or if you have anything to add to the story. All right, peace.